Hey guys, Ashley here, also known as the HLE fan. I am back with another video, and today we will talk about Gossip Girl, continuing my Gossip Girl rants. The time is 10:21 p.m. at night. I took a nap for way too long, and then I woke up at 9 o'clock, and I literally couldn't go back to sleep, so I'm thinking like, hey, it's early. I took a nap for way too long. I don't even take naps that long. Ooh, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? So I thought, why not just get the rest out the way? Because I was supposed to do this early on in the day, but I took a nap. So I just thought, why not just get it done and over with? And today's Gossip Girl rant is how I feel like the Gossip Girl writers, ruined Dan and Serena's love story. So let's just talk about it. Me personally, I've always been a Dan and Serena shipper. Like the video I made, I don't understand the appeal of Nate and Serena. I don't get it. And like I said, a lot of people who ship Nate and Serena, the only reason why they ship them is because towards the end of the show, they decide to reveal that Dan is Gossip Girl, which is another big part of why their love story is just find ways to ruin it, Gossip Girl. Why don't you just find all the possible ways to ruin a great ship that they were in the first two seasons? A lot of people thought they were too boring. They didn't have like enough drama going on, which I think is just not true. I actually like the fact that Serena was dating someone wholesome like Dan, because he was very wholesome, and yeah, he might have been a little bit judgy, and like I think with them that I liked so much was that they were kind of opposites. And me personally, I'm always down for opposites attracting when it's done right. And me personally, I don't like get mad, but this is a hot take. Dan and Serena were a better opposite attract than Zeph and Summer. Don't add me, argue with your mama, don't argue with me. Because Zeph and Summer, which I'm doing the rant about them when I get to my OC rant, the problem I have with them is that the writers didn't know how to keep it interesting after season 2. Their relationship got really boring, and like their storylines did not give. Like, I didn't care for them after season 2. Like, I really didn't. Like, when I watched season 3, I totally forgot they were together half the time. Like, I just didn't care. I was always a Ryan and Marissa shipper until the end of time, and I always will be. But what I really liked about Dan and Serena was that they were opposites, and it was done right. Unlike him and Blair, it was just done right. And I feel like, to me, I did enjoy them. I thought they had great chemistry. And to me, I feel like the problems really came with the relationship in season 2. Even though season 1 and 2 is the best interpretation of the relationship, I feel like season 2 started it all. So we're going to start there. We're going to start when things went stupid with their love story. And it always starts in season 2. So the problem I had in season 2 was that the writers rushed them back together in the first half. Had them break up. They stopped having scenes together. They didn't start having scenes again until like when she got with the other guy, Aaron. And then when she got with Aaron, it is revealed that Rufus and Lily have feelings for each other, which I hated that. The whole Rufus and Lily thing, I totally get it. Like, they have feelings for each other and they wanted to go back to each other. But, like, it literally ruined Dan and Serena, because not only do their parents have feelings for each other, but they also share a secret sibling. Just, why not get Hillbilly? Why don't you? Why not get Wrong Turn? Why don't you? It was really, really annoying. Even, like, when I go back and rewatch, like, episodes from season 2, like, it is really irritating knowing that the writers decided to add a secret sibling on top of what Rufus and Lily had going on. It's like, do you really need to write a secret sibling? They couldn't have just, I don't know, Lily couldn't have just, I don't know, been pregnant and got an abortion. Like, did she really need to deliver the baby and give it up for adoption and just all that? Like, I just feel like all of it was just really unnecessary. And, like, season 2 started all of that. And so, even though Lily and Rufus have feelings for each other, Dan and Serena think they can survive it. So they date while their parents are dating. Like I said, hella weird. And I can't help but feel like this is an inside joke to how sometimes white people act. Which it's oh my gosh. Like, Can you imagine if you saw a family that the mother, that the girl's mother and her boyfriend's father are dating, and yet they're dating too? It's like, welcome to the family of incest. And it was just very weird, like very, very weird. And then they introduced the teacher storyline, which I just felt like all of it was just so, like, it was, they were just finding ways to bury Dan and Serena, like just make it impossible to ship, like just impossible to ship it. And I hated it. I absolutely hated that they chose to do this to them in season 2. So that's how I feel about the YouTube. They broke up after everything with the teacher storyline, and then her and Dan never got back together. They kind of just like accepted the fact that Ruth and Lily are going to be in love, and that they have to break up because it's getting weird. At least I can respect the fact that they acknowledged how weird it is and that they can't continue it. But I just feel like Rufus and Lily, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, like I said in my video, their marriage wasn't even that, it wasn't even important to the plot line. It wasn't, they stopped getting story time. I mean, they stopped getting storylines, they stopped getting screen time. The chemistry died down. It was like, why keep them together for 3 seasons? It was just, it was ridiculous. Like, it was really no reason for them to be together for that long. They could have gotten a divorce in season 3. Honestly, in my opinion, not much really happened with Dan and Serena in season 3. They had their minor interactions, but nothing too serious until towards the end when she called Dan to pick her up after her father ran off to go, he pretty much skipped jail time, her dad, and Serena helped him do it. They kissed, they slept in the same bed. Jenny took a picture of it and she posted it on Gossip Girl so Nick could see that she's a cheater, which Serena is. She literally went into the arms of her ex because she was mad that they were all behind the fact that her father was lying. And it's like, girl, they're really that mad? It's not that big of a deal. To cheat on Nate with Dan because you were mad that Nate wanted him to get arrested, it's like, oh my god, Serena, if it ain't her way, and if it's not her way, you ain't on her side. And that's like, that's just being really hella immature. So in season 4, Serena went with Blair to Paris. They both decided to wind down after everything that happened. Pretty much take like a mental break and like wind down. Blair doesn't know if she could still love Chuck after he slept with Jenny. And Serena can't make a decision between Nate or Dan, considering that she left them both leaned on. So she comes back. She still can make a decision. Dan fools Vanessa into thinking that he's still in love with her, but Vanessa finds out that he still has feelings for Serena. So the whole Juliet thing, the whole Julia, I think that's her name, Juliet, she wants to help them take down Serena, and Vanessa, being the picky that she is, she wants to have Dan pick her in the end. It's just like, can she just leave already? I couldn't stand Vanessa. She didn't mean anything to the plot. She didn't enhance the plot. Nothing. The only interesting thing, silent here, that I wish they would have done with Vanessa is probably put her with Chuck. That would have made a lot of sense. I would have had love with Chuck, but I had like an opposite attracting relationship on the show outside of Blair. I don't think Chuck had a lot of interesting romantic interests outside of Blair, and I feel the same way about Blair too, but like, at least I know the guys Blair's been with. I cannot give you a simple person Chuck's been with. I can't give you the females' names. I can't. I think him and Vanessa, that would have made a lot of sense because they did hook up. They did hook up in season 2. I feel like that would have made a lot of sense for them to hook up, and I would have had considered that love triangle, Chuck Blair. I would have had taken a Chuck Blair and Vanessa love triangle over a Chuck Nate and Blair love triangle, because Nate is a non-factor. Why are we even? There's no point of shipping any of this. I can't. even like Vanessa on some extent, I think her and Chuck in the episode in season 2, episode 7, I saw chemistry there, and I feel like the writers were hinting at making them something, and then they kind of just like um took like 10 steps back about it. And I would have taken that a lot better. Like if they would have given they would have given Chuck and Vanessa like decent chemistry and like a decent storyline, then yeah, I could definitely ship it. But Nate and Blair, I can't ship that because they were together on and off a lot season 1, and they had like zero chemistry. So I can't ship that. But back to season 4, Gossip Girl, with Serena and Dan. I'm trying to remember the best I can. I'm trying to remember. She started dating that professor guy. She still couldn't make a decision between Nate or Dan, but she told Dan when after she was found in the motel overdosed on pills that Dan was the person that she was coming to kiss, and she was going to tell him that she wanted to be with him. But the writers decided to squash all that, squish on it like a bug, and decided to have Serena go get help. And instead of having her and Dan be together after she gets the help that she needs, they decided to put her with the fucking guy that was put in jail for pedophilia. What? Whose idea was that? I would like to know whose fucking idea that was to put Serena with the guy who was in jail for being a child predator. Are you serious? Are you serious? I'm like, and things get even worse because the writers decide to hint something between Blair and Dan. And like I already made a video about this, I do not understand their shippers. I don't understand Dan and Blair. That is an opposite attract that don't make any sense. That didn't make any sense. It wasn't built up well. It wasn't. It was really stupid. I don't care. It was really, really dumb. I couldn't comprehend it. I still don't comprehend it at 21 years old why they were even try to do anything with Dan and Blair. I feel this is just their desperate attempt to make things more hard for him and Serena. How hard would it be if Dan got with Blair? How hard would it be? It's just stupid. It was really dumb. I would much rather have Dan date some other girl than him getting involved with Blair. It made no sense. Him and Blair had zero chemistry. They had zero. I didn't believe in any of it. I didn't believe that Blair would date someone like Dan, and I didn't believe that Dan would date someone like Blair. I didn't believe any of it. It is not because Dan is ugly or Blair is ugly. No, it's not about looks or any of that. It's just that I don't believe that they would date each other. It just don't make sense. When they spent the whole show hating each other, looking down on each other, you mean to tell me all that just goes away after a few conversations? If I don't like somebody, just because I spend time with you doesn't mean I'm just going to lift my guard up and just, forget that I disliked you. No, I had reasons to why I didn't like you. Those reasons are not just going to go away because I spent some alone time with you. That's just stupid. And that's exactly what they did. They basically just like had them spend a couple of episodes together and be like, oh, my opinions have changed on him. Even though they had reasons for not liking each other. Dan didn't like Blair because he thought Blair was stuck up, because Blair thought that she was better than everybody, because Blair thought that Serena could do better than someone who is sheltered and who don't have nothing going on. He's in Blair's eyes, Dan is less fortunate. He's poor, but I'm telling you right now, Dan and Jenny and them are far from poor. They just are not rich. It ain't cheap living in New York. Living in New York and living in like some motel, you need to have money to live in New York. Are you kidding me? You can't just live in New York. No, Rufus had a job as he was working in an art gallery selling paintings. You know how much people pay money to have a real painting on their wall? No, Dan and Jenny were not broke. They were just a little bit less fortunate. But they were not broke. I'm not buying into that. Now that I'm older, they were nowhere near poor. It is not cheap to live in New York. And Rufus was selling paintings in an art gallery. Like I said, people would pay real money to buy real paintings. Come on now. It's just the way that they were living in a, what they call them? In a gallery. They were living in a gallery, and like Jenny had like a whole garage door. She didn't even have a normal door. She had a garage door to open and close her door. Like, I guess that's what they were trying to do, like saying their living situation was less fortunate, but it's not cheap to live in New York. Like I said, in the day, it's not cheap to live there. So they were not poor. Like, they had little reasons for not liking each other. And, like, the fact that the writers would just make you manipulate people into thinking that those reasonings went away because they hung out a few times, I didn't believe any of it. I don't believe that relationship. I don't believe that they would date each other. I'm sorry. I've just always been a Chuck and Blair shipper, and I will forever be. Everything people have against them, I totally get it. I'm not going to sit here and defend it and be like, oh, this and that, and this and that, and this and that, and then I'm not going to defend it. But me personally, I just always been a Chuck and Blair shipper. I'm not saying swipe to the toxicity. No, I'm not doing that. But to me, I've always appreciated how the writers wrote them. I always appreciated how they wrote the back and forth, how they did have them date other people, how they were only in a relationship for one whole season. They weren't even in a relationship for seasons 4 or 5. They were going back and forth a lot. So I appreciate a lot of the writings for Chuck and Blair. Dan and Serena, that is a different story. I don't appreciate the writers that the writers did for them, because the writing for their love story was all over the place. It was literally inconsistent and incoherent as you can get when it comes to a love story. The best interpretation of the love story was season 1 and 2, but I'm not done because we still got season 5. Ugh. I don't even remember if they even had as many interactions as they did in season 5. Dan is in love with Blair now. He's there for Blair. Serena had a problem with it, which she does, but I didn't like how Serena was saying that the reason why Blair liked him was because she dated him, and that's why Blair wanted him. But trying to be like, Blair always wants what I have, which is not true, because Serena always wants what Blair has. Serena wanted Blair's family. Serena wanted Blair's crown. She wanted two little girls at school. She wanted Nate. The only person that Serena didn't want that Blair had was Chuck. That's it, because her and Chuck were step siblings. That's literally it. That's the only person that Serena never hooked up with, and that was Chuck. She stuck with Dan while Blair was with them. Like, I just find it very hard to believe that she would make it seem like Blair wants what she has. No. Maybe Blair wants. Maybe I think the only thing Blair ever really wanted from Serena was, I guess, like the popularity. I guess like Serena had, like the reason people gravitate towards her, which I can't even give you a reason why. Serena's not nice. She's not intelligent. She's not interesting as a person. Everything that comes out of her mouth is very whiny and selfish and self-centered. I feel like if she doesn't get her way, she doesn't like you. And that's how I feel personally. I feel like the only person that really was able to get her down to earth in a way that it was just like, you know, push your ego down was Dan. I feel like whenever she was with someone else, she never had, and she always had an ego, but when she was with Dan, Dan like toned that the fuck down. Like, hey, you're not doing all that when you with me. And like he always toned her down, which I always kind of appreciated. But like really, in season 5, that's all I can really remember is him having feelings for Blair and Serena not liking it. But she had every right to be, because I just feel like dating someone that your best friend's been with is just it's an off limits thing. Yes, that ex is not your property, but at the end of the day, it's like, why would you want to date someone that's been involved with your best friend? Why would you want to date somebody who been with them physically? Like, why? I feel like to me, the only time things like this make sense is in love triangles. Like, it only makes sense for things like in One Tree Hill. It made sense for Lucas to go back and forth with Brooke and Peyton. That made sense. Like, I can understand people be like, how can Brooke be with him after he's been with Peyton, or having Peyton be with him after he's been with Brooke physically. What it was a love triangle. That's the reason why I can accept it, was because it was a love triangle. Any other time, no, I couldn't. I couldn't accept that. Kind of like how people give Brooke no slack for people with Nathan. People make it like it's no big deal. But this bitch knew, yes, I'm calling Brooke a bitch because in that moment, in season 4, she was a total bitch. She was a bitch. For her to sleep with Nathan, knowing that him and Peyton were getting right back together, it was malicious, and it was definitely, it was malicious, and for her to like not have no apology towards it, it was just really annoying that she took no accountability. But yet she was want Peyton or Lucas to take accountability, but yet you can't take any accountability. It was just disgusting. That is disgusting. Sleeping with somebody's boyfriend, knowing that they're getting right back together, and you show no guilt or any remorse towards doing it, that's disgusting. Disgusting. I feel like situations where two people are hopping between a girl or a guy only makes sense in a love triangle. It makes sense in Vampire Diaries. It makes sense in One Tree Hill. It doesn't make sense to me in Gossip Girl. I don't get that. I don't understand why Blair want to be with someone that Serena's been involved with physically. I don't understand why Serena want to be with someone that Blair's been involved with physically. It just doesn't make sense to me at all. It was just stupid. And then we get to season 6, and Dan is still hooked up on Blair until she tells him basically in episode 5 that he pretended to be better. Oh, I forgot to mention, Serena and Dan slept together in season 5, and then like he told Serena off and said that since now that their parents are getting divorced, that he has no reason to be around her or care for her as a person. So that was that. Oh shit, my goddamn pants. Water spilled on my fucking pants. So that is that. And then we get to season 6 where she told Danny you pretend to be better. And then this is when the writers build up Dennis Serena again. To me, the build up in season 6 always seemed hella lazy, like, and I still stand on that. Was it nice seeing them rekindle their relationship? Yes, because I just felt like what took them so damn long to put it back together after season 2? Like, what took them so long? That is ridiculous. Like, that is seasons past. Seasons have passed since they last were together. It was just ridiculous. It was ridiculous. I did like the fact they did decide to put them back together. It was cute. You know, they were having movie nights, eating ice cream, and everything. I just feel like Dan telling, I feel like Dan telling like Serena that she's always been the one was just like a really lazy dialogue approach, because is she the one when he was being with Vanessa? Was she the one when you were screwing Olivia? Was she the one when you were screwing Blair? Like, seriously, how was Serena the one when you were doing all these other things with other girls? Like, I just feel like a person who was that term-minded wouldn't do the stupid shit that they were doing. And like, I know a lot of people are gonna say, what about Lucas? Well, the thing is with Lucas is that I don't even understand why the writers had him and had him and Brooke go back to each other as many times as they did. I thought it was really, really frustrating. The relationship is very frustrating because they just didn't belong together on so many reasons. And Lucas definitely should have not been with Lindsay. I can understand the book thing, but Lindsay, I definitely would have not written that in season 5. I probably would have not written that, but I understand they needed something to get in between Lucas and Peyton. But Lindsay was just really a waste of time because we all know that he's still in love with Peyton. The feelings that they have for each other did not just go away in 3 years. I refuse to believe that. And I don't think no one believed him and Lindsay's relationship. Like, at all. I didn't believe in it at all. I didn't. But him and Brooke, I felt like to me, I feel like if the writers would have given him and Peyton a little bit more screen time in season 2, I still think he would have been confused in choosing who he needed to be with in season 2, but the writers just completely forgot about him and Peyton's friendship in season 2. Like, him and Peyton barely had any interactions in season 2. They put her in a storyline with Jake, which I wasn't mad at because they were kind of hinting that in season 1. But for Lucas to just go straight out and say that he still has feelings for Brooke made like little to no sense to me because him and Brooke really had any interactions in season 2. I don't know. I thought that they would have had kept the love time going just a little bit more in season 2 instead of just having him go right back to Brooke. I probably would have had liked it a little bit more. I guess that's probably something I would have changed in season 2 is that if they would have had kept the love triangle going just a little bit more, the back and forth going a little bit more. But season 3 they did it right, and they did give her Peyton a little bit more interactions, and I feel like the library kiss between them, I feel like it left Lucas really confused, because like he said, when she told him that she loved him, he loved her too. He just didn't want to admit it. He loved her too. He did love Peyton, and he knew exactly what she was talking about. It wasn't just, oh, I love you because I'm dying. No. It was, I love you, I love you. I love you. Like, I want to be with you, I love you. It was that type of I love you. Basically, like, confessing her feelings to him. So, I love that in season 3 they did it right, because in season 2, I would have kept it going just a little bit more. But I can't even understand, like, on some capacity that Lucas was confused. That means him being confused makes a lot more sense than Dan being confused. Dan was not confused. They just had Dan dating anybody, because him and Serena were in a really bad situation because their parents weren't married. They broke up again in season 6. I keep going on side rants because I'm trying to prove my point here. I'm hoping that I'm proving my point here. They did break up in season 6 because Dan wrote a article a long time ago that Gossip Girl surfaced up about how he felt about the Upper East Side, and Serena was in that column. But I feel like Serena had no right to get mad when this is basically what he wrote after everything that happened in season 5 and during season 5. It's like he had every right to feel that way about her. Like, she was being egotistical, and like she really just wanted what Blair had. Like, she could not digest the fact that Blair was dating her ex, which I understand. I don't want anybody dating my ex either, because that's just like, not that I have feelings for him, but it's like, why? But I feel like for Serena to sleep with Dan to purposely make Blair mad and to ruin the relationship is just a bitchy move. And she knew it was a bitchy move, and she did it anyway. I hate Serena. I really don't like her. So that was, and then season 6 they got married in the time jump, and that was a relationship. And now that I think about it, wow, her and Dan probably had one of the worst love stories on TV. Probably one of the worst. It was really, really annoying and just like frustrating seeing how much the writers just couldn't get it right. And so many things could have been avoided if they would have just had the capacity to just avoid certain things. Like, avoid him and Blair, avoid Dan and Blair, avoid Rufus and Lily continuing their marriage after season 3. Because honestly, the marriage should have ended in season 3 after everything that Lily was lying about to Rufus. And like the fact that he left Jenny under her care after he was at the house, and Jenny is selling drugs and she's getting involved with some, I don't even know how old Damien could have not been older than them. Well, he was Serena's age, yeah, but like he is older. He's probably like 19. That just like everything about it was just really dumb. Like, I can't even like mentally explain it because it was just lazy. If I can come up with a word for it, very lazy. just very lazy and not even trying. Like they didn't even try to make the love story interesting or to keep it going. Like they didn't even know how to keep it going. Like why couldn't they have a back and forth like how Chuck and Blair had their back and forth? Why couldn't they have that? I just didn't get it. And like I don't get people who say she should have ended up with Nate because that too, her and Nate had no convincing chemistry emotionally or physically. Well, physically probably because they always had a thing for each other. They're both blondes. They're both boring. But her and Nate literally did not do anything in season 3 besides kiss and have sex. Um, just very lazy. Sorry, I have Gossip Girl on my TV, so if I sound like I keep like dissing off, it's because I keep trying to see what's going on. Sorry, it's a guilty pleasure with Gossip Girl. But like, Dan and Serena definitely have one of the most laziest love stories on TV. I'll definitely have to say they're just very lazy and just like they didn't do anything to keep it going. Like I said, why couldn't they have a back and forth situation? Like, why weren't they allowed to have any of that? It was just very, very, very lazy. And if I can go back and change anything, if I was in charge of writing of anything, I definitely would have written Dan and Serena's love story way better than the writers did them. Hell of a lot better. That's just how I feel. I feel like the writers ruined them. If I had to come up with like the writers ruined them by putting Rufus and Lily together, by putting Dan and Blair together, by making them not have as many scenes as they did towards the middle of the series. Like, I don't think her and Dan had a lot of scenes together in season 5 or season 3, really. So her kissing Dan out of nowhere in season 3 made like zero sense to me. And then like, just lazy. It was really lazy. Oh my god! And then Dan coming out of Gossip Girl and Serena still choosing to be with him, just very very lazy. I still ship them because I love season 1 and season 2 of Dan and Serena. I really do, but I can understand like people who just like don't care for them after season 1 and 2. I totally get it. Even though I feel like they had chemistry and like their many interactions were cute or whatever, I just feel like with refusing to keep it going, refusing basically what I feel like they were trying to do is make us forget they were a thing. And I just feel like refusing to keep it going just made it really irritating and frustrating to like sit through. Um, Basically what I have to say is that I feel like the writers wasted their love story, and I feel like the writers just failed them. And I feel like that's why Chuck and Blair became such a big hit with the audience, was because Chuck and Blair, everything was always consistent. They kept it going in season 1, and season 2, and season 3, and season 4, and season 5, and season 6. They kept it going. They made you love their love story. And to me, it felt like Dan and Blair were supposed to have a love story that Chuck and Blair ended up having. But due to laziness and due to terrible writing, they didn't have that. And Chuck and Blair ended up becoming the it couple of the show that Dan and Blair were supposed Dan and Blair. That Dan and Serena were supposed to be. So, that's just how I feel. Um, I'll see you guys next time. Comment, like, and subscribe, and let me guys know what you feel like in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.